Hey all, it's Karen from KarenTestsStuff. I've done a bunch of these as trials. I hope this one will end up being my final copy because I've decided to change how I'm presenting this. I wanted to share the story of some of my experiences over the last year and maybe get to hear your stories as well. I know a lot of us have gone through monumental change in the last year, and I wanted a place to remember some of my successes and some of the challenges that I've been through this year. And I feel like this is as good a place as any to share with my community in a way that maybe would help someone else not to feel so alone while they go through whatever they're going through. I'm very open about mental health, my physical health journey, and a bunch of other topics that can be sensitive to some viewers. So I just say this as a warning that some of the things that I record may be triggering to some people, as I have gone through a number of different things that, like I said, are going to be sensitive topics. I will put in the description below the exact triggering content with the timestamps. Please, future me, do this. So that if that content is triggering to you, you can skip that portion of the video. So, 2022, lots of things happened. During the year, I upgraded some of my equipment, specifically my computer, my recording equipment. So this video brought to you by my beautiful RGB supercomputer. Um, it is a custom-built PC where my ex and I picked out all of the different components and had it built, and it has been an absolute dream to work with. I've never really had nice technology that I purchased on my own, so I'm really happy with that investment. It makes it possible for content like this to be produced and shared with the community. So it's a nice tool to help me give back. Along those lines, it gave me the opportunity to start posting videos to a YouTube channel. I had an idea about a video, and then that video kind of turned into a series of questions where I interviewed people in the community about what it means to be a software testing advocate. I learned a lot about the diversity of our roles and how words can have such different interpretations to different people, which really opened my eyes to being more mindful of filters that people have when you communicate with them, because your intention may not always be immediately clear. Um, you have to be really mindful of other people's experiences. Otherwise, you may not be understood. And that's one of my greatest fears. So that's something that I really strive to make clear. And I'm sorry, my phone, like I said, I'm probably not going to do any edits on this. My phone keeps going off, so I'm just going to turn that down so that I don't get distracted anymore. Um, so Karen Test Stuff was born. I have kind of worked under that persona for 6-ish months now, almost exclusively for content creation. I know it's been longer than that, but before then I was actually like just doing it as kind of like a in my spare time thing. In the last 6 months, it's been like on my LinkedIn profile that I am a content creator for Karen Test Stuff. I am the creator of Karen Test Stuff. That is me, and I am truly authentically myself, as much as I can be safely on the internet. Uh, but I don't really hold anything back. What you see in these videos is, kind of an organic version of my brain in video form. So I appreciate a lot of you that have engaged with me on social media and have met me through Twitter and LinkedIn and through YouTube as well. But all of this is the most authentic version of me that I have ever been. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm not trying to get views. I'm not trying to get followers. I'm not trying to get subscribers. I don't really care. My goal is I don't want people to feel alone. And I felt alone for a lot of my life, in different ways, in different settings. And now that I'm in this space of software testing with you all, I want to help make it as inclusive as possible for people like me. Um, and we all have different needs. So I'm still exploring exactly what the rest of this means for my career, my future, what Karen Test Stuff is anymore after I haven't posted a video in months. So be patient with me. I'm still here, and I'm still learning, and I still love you guys. So, and that's another thing I've been working on. I've been trying not to say you guys throughout the last year. I've been trying to say you all instead to try to be more inclusive as well. So that's something that I'm definitely mindful of when I listen to things back and hear that come out of my mouth. I appreciate you all and your patience. So it's not just me making internal initiatives. I also started a coaching relationship this year with a brilliant, brilliant soul of a lady, Kris Corbus. Kris is a phenomenal inspiration. Oh my goodness, that woman. Mm, I could listen to her talk for hours. It's so soothing. She's got a Morgan Freeman voice where she could be telling you very intense things, but do it in such a calm way that makes you feel like, okay, we can handle anything. I can handle anything. And I really enjoyed working with her and kind of discovering areas that I wasn't okay with, that I was uncomfortable with, that I wanted to grow in, and made a plan to do that in a measurable and accountable way. So I feel like I really grew from that, and it's helped me, even though I just said I'm not really sure where I want everything to go. I've got Kris's voice in my head asking me questions that are going to help me figure that out. It just takes time. So, something else, oh my goodness, another absolutely brilliant soul that came into my life this year was my baby nephew, Elliot. I never was much of a maternal person when I saw myself. Um, but I feel like I got to experience a small piece of the joy that people describe as new parents when I got to see my nephew for the first time. Um, I talk a lot about choosing joy, and sometimes joy finds you. I love those moments. The feeling of utter peace when you get that joy that makes you almost want to cry, because you're just so in the moment and so appreciative of what's happening in front of you that there's this life that we have to live. And then seeing him a few months later as his personality started to develop and starting to appreciate him for a human being, and the way he's learning about the world through all of his senses at once is it inspires something in me that makes me want to be curious about the world again. Um, it's amazing. I almost lose the words to describe it, but joy like that is a once in a lifetime experience that I will remember that feeling for the rest of my life. But like I said, I don't really have the maternal thing. It's not anything that I envisioned for my life ever, um, even as a child, into young adulthood, into being a teenager, into being, uh, yeah, from then on. I not going to go into a whole bunch of detail on this particular area that I want to talk about, but anyone who is going to experience um, any kind of reproductive medical procedure, my heart's with you. I've been there, done a lot of them. Happy to say that in January of this year, I got a wish that I've held for 15 years, and I finally got to have my hysterectomy. And I am so, so, so happy that I decided to take that step on my medical journey. It's really important when you make those kinds of big life decisions to have good support systems. And during that particular period in time, I was going through a lot of turmoil at work and with friends or people that I was removing access to my life with. And a few specific people got me through that time in person and helped care for me physically while I was recovering. And I will be eternally grateful to those people. Um, but I was in such a pain fog for that period. I kind of lost a week of my life, kind of, where I don't really remember much. But I would have little moments of clarity where I'd be able to see some of the Twitter messages or the text messages or things like that that would come through, and I'd be able to smile while I read, even if I didn't have the energy to reply. Um, just knowing that you all were out there was such a huge support to me mentally while I was going through that time of hormonal change, physical change, and social change. I'm glad that I got to have it done well before this summer when Roe vs. Wade got overturned in the US. For those of you that don't know, it was, you'll be able to Google it and find lots of information on it. It covers a lot of reproductive rights that women are not protected with now. I don't want to get into the politics behind it, but I feel very strongly that women hold a lot more value than are given to them in the United States by the justice system anyway. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that. But the reason I bring it up is because I had always felt like maybe my values weren't the values of the place that I lived. So this influenced a lot of my future plans where I would dream of living in Europe or, retiring to Norway or different funny little daydreams that I would think about while I was at my desk at work, typing away or stocking the shelves or everything else that I've done. But when I got into tech, those dreams became a little bit more tangible. Like someday I might actually be able to do that. So I started looking into Europe a little bit more seriously in the last year and looked at, Germany, the UK, Estonia, Norway, looked at the Netherlands a little bit, but then Roe vs. Wade got overturned, and I decided that because I held financial power over my future now, that I wasn't going to wait any longer to live in a place that I felt respected me as a human being in at least more ways than I'm used to or have been used to growing up here. Um, I just feel like humanity holds so much more value than a lot of societies give credit for, and that we'd all be a lot better if we maybe cared about each other a little bit more, or didn't care about what each other was doing a little more. Either way, toss up. Just let people live their lives. But anyways, those are musings for a totally different video that I will never share on the internet. Back to what I was talking about. I decided that I wanted to move overseas. So I did all this research, talked to people. Oh my God, so many people helped network me with other people to get me to being interested in conferences. So I attended Agile Testing Days in June of this year, which was my very first in-person conference, although I had attended some virtual Ministry of Testing conferences, which were also phenomenal and were wonderful introductions to the community. Um, but that first in-person conference was a big, big turning point because it opened my eyes to the ideal that the way that I was used to working, in the environment that I was used to working, in the culture that I was used to working, didn't have to be the only way. That there were people out there who felt like I do, who understand what I have to give and why I want to give it. So, sorry, my computer just went to sleep. Hope this is still recording. Um, so why I want to share stuff and the people that I met there. I remember walking from the lobby after dropping my bags off in my room, walking into the lobby and walking up to Lisa Crispin and Janet Gregory and saying, "Are you my people?" And they immediately included me in their conversation. I introduced myself. They knew who I was from Twitter, which was astounding. And they had dinner with me later that night with a bunch of other amazing people, and I've never looked back. The Agile Testing Days community is one of the most diverse and welcoming communities that I have been had the privilege to experience. And I'm incredibly stoked to have the opportunity to speak at Agile Testing Days USA in 2023, this upcoming year. So, exactly 1 year from attending my first in person conference, I'll be speaking at my first in person conference, which I'm very proud of. I can't wait. Hope to see a ton of you all there. Um, when I came back from Agile Testing Days with all of these inspired ideas and these hopes to be better, I hit a wall at work. And I can't really publicly talk about what happened with me in those last couple of days, but there was a lot of broken trust. There still is a lot of broken trust that I have, um, that I'm still working through. So I appreciate if my boss specifically sees this video, I appreciate you being there for me when I have questions and concerns. You are literally the best type of manager that I can think of for my particular needs. Bless you, John. Um, but yeah, back on track. So that position ended. And I was out of work for almost 6 months, which gave me a lot of time to work on KarenTestsStuff, which was awesome. I got to meet some amazing people and have some really cool interviews, some of my favorites. Uh, but a lot of it was spent doing nothing. I got into a really bad spot of depression and lost a lot of weight and couldn't sleep and wasn't enjoying things like I used to, couldn't read because I've developed like micro eye movements, which are, I thought it was something with my vision. I was really freaked out about it, but it's actually like a really quick, like micro eye movement where your eye skips around the page, and I have to refocus my vision back on what I was looking at and kind of like pick back up where I was instead of just reading like normal. And I used to be a really fast reader. I'd just tear through books. I love reading. But apparently, this is a common thing with ADHD. I don't know if my ADHD just isn't as well managed anymore or what, but I'm working with my psychiatrist to figure that out. Um, Hopefully, that'll be something that I can restart in the next year. So, because it's something that I used to enjoy. But while I was out of work, I started applying for positions in Europe because I moved up my timeline on when I wanted to leave because of the Roe versus Wade decision. Not just because of that decision. That was just like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, I've had issues with women's rights being stomped on in the US for a long time, like I said. So this was not really like a spur of the moment thing, although a lot of people seem to think it was. I've been talking about this for like over a decade, so do with that what you will. So before I wanted to move to the country that I landed on, which ended up being the Netherlands because it was so close to the same cultural values that I hold, and there's a lot of opportunity for testers there with brilliant companies that are renowned across Europe and held in really high regard. And I would love to learn from people that work there as well. Um, so I decided I wanted to take a trip. And when Hybe reached out to me with the opportunity to come and attend his rapid software testing course, I immediately started crowdfunding with some encouragement from a few friends because I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I had been out of work for months by that point and my credit card debt was racked up. So I was being really careful with where I spent my money. And the crowd response to that was absolutely overwhelming. I tell people that I was hoping for a nice dinner by the canal one evening, but what I got was my entire flights and half of my hotel paid for. On top of the fact that while I was there, when I met with friends for almost every meal, no one would let me pay for anything. I love you all to pieces. You did not have to do that. I just being there in your presence in your homes, in your favorite restaurants, walking the streets with you, biking the city with you was an absolute treasure. That was a gift. Thank you. But I did it alone because my partner at the time wasn't ready. I think that's all I'm going to say on that because I really don't want to cry on the internet. But it's okay. We just determined at that time that we wanted different things out of our futures. So I am still in the process of the divorce as the new year turns. Um, Hopefully it won't be long. And I wish him the best. That also brings about the other big change at the end of the year. I just moved into this space. So you'll see in my other full-length videos, I have a very different background. Um, Sorry, I know that was an aggressive sniffle. But I almost cried. Be nice. Um, so I moved from a like 1,500 square foot house with a basement into a one-bedroom apartment. Just me and the kitty cat. Liliana of the Dark Realms is still with me, and she loves it because we get to play tag around the apartment, and it's like her favorite thing in the world to be chased around in a circle. So she's doing very, very well. Um, and overall, that's the theme that I'm going into 2023 with, is that overall, I'm doing very, very well. And I think most of us are. Even if you're struggling, there's so much opportunity to find joy. Even with the bad stuff that I've been through, like the not working. Yeah, I wasn't working, but I had time to work on myself. Yeah, Roe vs. Wade got overturned, which sucks, but at least it was a kick in the pants that give me the motivation to follow my dream instead of waiting. Um, yeah, yeah, divorce sucks, but rediscovering relationships and like all the different friends that love me in different ways is really beautiful. Um, I wish I could show you all how brilliant you are to me. I hope you understand. By me sharing some of my life with you, this is really vulnerable, but by sharing my life with you, it's not to go, oh, woe is me, or oh, look how cool this thing is, although sometimes I get really excited and I like to do that. It's more to say, look, this is my experience. What's your experience? I'll tell you all about mine. I'd love to hear about yours. So I've learned a lot over the last year, but one of the biggest takeaways that I'm taking from 2022 is that you have to choose joy. Otherwise, you can find the dark side to any situation. But if you choose joy, at least you've got a better shot. And maybe share it. I like to share joy. So, I don't know. Let me know what kind of joy you're taking into 2023. I'm going to take the joy in my heart of knowing that I have friends like you. So, thanks for watching this 30-minute freaking reflection. And if you didn't, I don't blame you. Bye all. Love you.